Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to this getting started guide on Farthest Frontier. Now, I've been playing a fair bit over the past couple of weeks and absolutely in love with this game, but I wanted to share a good amount of tips that I've learned actually along the way and some efficient ways to get up and running. First things first, we'll go through quickly here. We've got the names that you can have. We've got terrain. I would recommend one of these two, Lowland Lakes or Idyllic Valley first, and then you've got easy, medium, hard, Trailblazer being medium obviously. And then if you go into advanced settings, you can actually change the resources, the raiders, all that kind of stuff within here as well. But I typically have just been playing on normal at the moment. And we'll hit start. Okay, when you first get in then, you get this little message. You got to choose an area to put your town hall. Now the time isn't ticking here, so what I'd recommend doing is have a look around. As you can see, you can kind of see all the resources around on the ground. Some are forageable, some are others. They're like fishing there. You can see that little mark saying that there's extra fish in that little pond. But what you want to do is near your starting position, there's always clay, which you're going to need a little bit later on. As you can see, that one right there is clay deposit, that little orange marker. But you want to look for stuff like that you can hunt. There's deer over there. We've got probably iron up by this mountain. There's also boars. Yep, there's iron right there. Having the mountain is kind of cool. I would never really build up on it because you need flat terrain, otherwise it's an issue. And you also need a fair bit of trees. Now I'm actually going to go towards this water source here because water you can't be attacked from one angle. It looks like we've got deer there. There's willow in there to make baskets. Now tab is to rotate the building, so whatever way you want that. Hold middle mouse button and move the mouse to rotate it that way as well. Ideal. Here's another thing to check. So if you press F, you get a fertility marker, and the dark green areas are where you're going to want to put your farming land and things like that. And then there's the desirability tab, which is J, and then if you press I, is for water. Now, this is where you'd put wells typically, and it looks like we got a pretty good map for that. I'm just going to plonk it down up here so we can get started, because this looks like a good little area. Let's go right there. Okay, once you start, then I'm just going to pause the game. Your villagers will always start really unhappy, but if you press H, or the little harvest resource down here, you'll have the options to do trees, stone, bushes, and berries. You can untick if you don't want some of them done, but you're going to need a little bit of stone and a load of wood to get started. If you just drag the mouse, you can select a bunch of trees around the area to clear. I don't actually have that many, and then we'll carry on and let them get cracking with that. If you right-click, it gets rid of it. If you look here, you've got an exploration point with E, or this little tab. If you click a flag there, one of your villagers will go check that out, and it opens this fog of war, because as you click in, obviously, the fog of war closes in. So you just need to keep that in mind. One of the big things I do right off the bat is you grab these dirt roads, build them around your town centre where it's going to be. You can see the outline. Just go all the way around, and then we'll grab a little block there. And then the next thing I do is another road. I'll kind of build off it a tiny bit. And I could try and keep it like a grid, if that makes sense. And how it works is you'll need a housing estate and like an industry estate. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail, but I'll speed this up and let these guys just build a second. Oh, as you can see, that one wolf did try and come and attack, and oh, we lost someone. So that can happen. Don't worry about it too much at the beginning. You get new villagers come in. But the wolf did come and just eat this guy, and before he could get away and saved, he actually is going to bleed out and die because we don't have a healer's house. That's fine. All right, town hall has been completed. So what this basically means is that you have this build menu here with B. If you also just open that one up, you'll then have a load of different sections. You've got amenities and services. One of them is a graveyard, which we're going to need, by the way, because our villager is dead and they can cause disease and things like that. You have a market and things like that. And as you upgrade the town centre, you get unlock more tiers within each section. One of the main things we need first is food production and housing, and also storage. So what I like to do is grab the road, like I was saying. We're probably going to go this way for our first lot of houses. And we'll keep everything close-knit where we can as well. So what we'll do is grab down. So we've got 12 villagers at the moment. I think it's 4 per house. What you want to do is grab those 3 is covered on housing there. But I like to do it in grids of 6. So you'll do this. You can leave a gap for desirability, but we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. And I'll just build the housing out a little bit this way. So what we're going to do whilst they're building those is we're going to go back into the build menu, food production here. So you've got a hunter's cabin, forager's shack, fishing shack, crop field. Do not go near them to start with, and a smokehouse. First thing we're going to grab is a forager's shack, and we are going to place this right here. And they're building away, as you can see, getting these houses up. And there's a few indicators here. So this building does not have access to clean water. Build a well nearby. I'm going to pause the game. What you want to do is go into resources here, and there is a well. So basic well, that takes you into that I was saying about the water before. You have a percentage gauge on how much better like the bonus is for the water in that area. So we want to cover all these houses, so we kind of need it close by. So to be honest, I'm not too fussed. I'm going to stick it right there, and that's why we needed our first bit of stone. So I'm going to actually select that stone and prioritize it, which you can do for any resource or building. And it means they'll look at doing that first. So you see this? I could prioritize that well being built, and they'll try and do that first, which I will do. And as you can see, because it's prioritized, they've all legged it over to this stone, and they're hacking that up, and they should be able to bring us a fair bit to get this finished. And then the second thing you want to do, just so whilst that's going, I'm going to grab into the build menu, and the other one is a firewood splitter. Now, you know you have the desirability meter. I just want to show you something here. So industry buildings will affect desirability. You see how it goes red when you go near it? So basically, don't place it near housing. I have everything kind of away from where it is. You don't want it too far away from resources and storage, but you want it far enough away to not affect desirability. So we'll do that there. And I'm going to put in a hunter's shack just in here as well, which we'll go into. So you want to go into food production and hunter's cabin, and we're going to stick that right in there, so they'll get that built as well. And now they've built the well, what will happen is that'll slowly fill up over time, and if you had it in a better water filled area, it fills up quicker. They've gone and distributed those around the houses, and when you get to a certain point, when you first started, you get this message. So in order for more people to join the settlement, you need 4 months, so you need more food basically and more housing to accommodate them. Our deceased villager is still lay on the ground. We need to deal with that. What you want to do is open your build menu, amenities and services, and there is a graveyard tab here. You will lose people, it's fine. Just select an area where you want that to be built. I'm just going to move it away from my building here because industry is going to go this way. When we're talking about desirability, in order to upgrade the housing, there is a desirability meter. And you can now hover over it and show what's increasing that. Do you see how this has got a basic well nearby? That does actually increase it. And another tip for you here is when this indication is showing on a building, that means it needs that resource to be able to start the building. So we're waiting on 10 wood for that to start. Over here, you'll see that there's this different icon, and it's actually got everything it needs. It just needs a person to work on it. And you'll see that going down as they're working on it. And that's that symbol right there. Alright, the graveyard has been built. So what they'll do is a villager will pick them up and go and bury them. You can see a gravestone right there. You don't have to worry about anything happening because of that anymore. Just setting off a little bit more of an area to be discovered down here as well. As you see, the villager is running up. He's coming through the trees, so he'll go and run to both of these sections here. You can start uncovering. If I was to go like this, he should carry on running that way as well. It looks like he's found another deer spot there. But this is our water down here, so he'll get us close. Oh, there's a tiny patch of water there. If you click too many times, as you see, we got a second villager coming over. But there is the water bit. It won't let you click in it. That's usually an indicator that you know. So we have a forager shack completed. Under every forager or hunter shack, you have this thing called the target building area. So what you want to do is click that, and you can move where they forage from. And you want to try and pick an area that has absolutely great stuff. So I usually like a bit of greens. The hawthorn, they're all seasonal, obviously. So you want to make sure you're... And you see how we got some close here. So I'm actually going to keep those in the circle, and we're just going to grab that for now. And she should go out. Delona should go out and harvest those for us. Yeah, so the firewood splitter has finished now. So one worker will go into there. When they're chopping wood, it'll stock up in here and create firewood for everyone else. We should eventually have enough for the winter here. We can make sure they focus on actually chopping the trees now. So I've removed priority of everything else and make sure it's just wood. 7 people have arrived at your village. They have plans to immigrate. I would always accept them, to be honest, especially this early on. They're great labourers. What you'll do is they'll go straight to work, and we've still got room for more in the housing. And now it looks like firewood is going to be okay. We're just coming into the colder months. They should be able to keep up. I'm going to get a second person in there real quick. What that'll do is cut twice as fast, obviously, so we'll get that, and they should be able to stock these ready for this winter coming up. Another cool little feature here is if you press the P key for professions, you'll open up this kind of tab here, and it'll show you what everyone's doing here. We've got 14 labourers. What that does mean is they're the ones that'll do all the moving around, the chopping, all that kind of stuff, and then you've got 4 builders, so there's 4 people that'll go away and build the buildings as we do it. Because we made one forager shack, there is one of those here. 1 hunter and 2 firewood splitters here, so you can kind of get an overview of all your villagers. Alright, when you first start, this storage cart will act as your only bit of storage as well, and you can move it away to reduce, you can move it around to reduce, like, running around time. We are cutting it a little bit fine with this firewood splitter, though. They are struggling to keep up, but I think it should be enough to keep them alive for the winter. We'll see. And then what you want to do is see how they're only running to there now rather than all the way over. My next port of call is always going to be a storage building, so you need a stockyard. This is just for log, stone, and wood planks, and I keep all this typically around by the town hall. I'm going to put it right in this slot here because that will come in nicely for them running towards it. And now, as you see, we have a small surplus of firewood here, so we should be okay for these winter months. They'll carry on working. We got 32 in there, so we should be fine. Okay, Hunter's Shack. So we didn't move that over. Again, the same thing you want to do is aim for... You see how you've got this little icon with the deer over here? What you'll do is you'll select that as your hunting area, and they'll go out and kill these deer and bring them home for meat. As you can see, he's going for that right now. Look, check him out. No, yep, he starts killing them. And what you'll get from these is not only just meat, you'll get leather and tallow as well for later on. Alright, as you can see, we're deep in the winter, so they've all gone to hide in their houses because it's too cold. And you have these, you'll see who's in each house. I think they're okay now, they come back out. But they have a surplus of all things in here. You'll see that there's this waste within a house storage. So if you click on any building, you can see anything about them. You need to handle that waste at some point as well. So what I like to do is get that up quite early because it's good fertilizer for when you get your farms. I'm going to build another road up here and I'm going to join this. We are in year number 2 and you can see now food stocks are getting a little bit low because we weren't able to forage during that time. And as it is seasonal, you can actually move it to grab some eggs and things like that, but the greens are still there, so we'll carry on just fine with that. And now that they've built down to this water here, I'm just pausing it. We'll go into the build menu, go food production, and get yourself a fishing shack. We'll just get that one down whilst they do that. And as you can see, we're actually by a shoal of fish. What that means is I think 50% extra fish in this area. Alright, now we've built the stockyard, we do actually then unlock quite a bit of other buildings. We now get a storehouse, which will store absolutely everything, and then a root cellar. Now the root cellar is really important because that actually keeps food better for longer. I'm just going to rotate that one round, and we are going to put the root cellar just over here. We'll grab ourselves a saw pit. Now, saw pit, again, affects desirability. So I'm going to bring that... I'm going to keep it this grid here. I think if we rotate that one, we'll have the saw pit over here. And what that'll do is cut logs into planks. So you need to try and keep a bit of a surplus on all of these things here. So I'm going to do 3 more houses. We can accommodate 12 more people eventually as well. Fishing shack, complete. So again, move your targeted working area. A total of, you can get it to 13 fishing areas right there. And the fishing productivity is 250%. And there's 351 fish in this area. So we'll set that off, and we should have one fisher that'll constantly be bringing that back. There he goes. All right. Planks. So saw pit has finished. This is how you make the planks, as I said. That'll get stocked with wood, and it starts default with 2 workers cutting plants. I'll leave just 2 for now. Our next port of call is going to be another storage building. It's actually the storehouse, and that is purely so we can unlock the other stuff. And I like to keep it all together, and it makes sense when the raiders attack. Alright, so far, as we've got deer just there, and also over here, this is a big one, I think I'm going to build a second hunter's shack, so we've got enough food to keep us going. And then on top of that, we'll also, I'm going to put it here, we're going to build I'm going to put it this side, smokehouse. Now the smokehouse will keep all our meat good. This has bad desirability as well, so you want to keep that away from those guys. I'm going to stick it just here by our food and stores. Alright, you know I mentioned the compost inside the houses earlier? So we're going to build a compost yard. Again, desirability. Look at this area. This is why I like to keep it away. This is actually going to be over here. That'll be okay by the graveyard, I think. We'll keep it off the grid a little bit over there, but that'll be out the way. And what they'll do is someone will grab the waste from the house, as you can see there, and put it into here, and it'll turn into compost for our farms. Okay, the storehouse has been finished as well, so we're going to untick. A quality of life thing there, you can just all untick there. It's beautiful. We don't want any food going into there unless this is full, so we'll keep that down at the moment because it'll spoil quicker in there. What they'll do with the smokehouse when it's finished is they will smoke both fish and meat. So it is really, really good. Here we go. So you'll see it here. You have this ratio, right? So you can tell it to do a 5 or a 10 to 1 ratio. So always do, so for every 10 smoked meat, do 1 smoked fish. Just keep it at 1 for 1 for now. If you think you've got a surplus of one over the other, then change the ratio. And that requires firewood to do so. So getting a stockpile of that early. I'm actually going to take one person off the firewood now because we've got a good chunk saved. And what we're going to work towards for our next goal is getting town centre upgraded. So the requirements are 8 shelters, which we've got, 1 market and a population of 30, then 50 planks and 30 stone. See this? We've got blueberry bushes right there. So you can select one and you can click to move it. And what we want to do is bring it over to our patch here that is being... I'm actually going to start moving it this way, I think. We put our patch over here, so the forager can then just collect from there. And we're going to look at starting to make certain things, like if you go into resources here, you'll have the option to do a tannery, a cobbler shop, Fletcher's building, which you will need to replenish arrows eventually, and a basket shop. Now, we haven't started collecting willow yet, so I'm going to hold fire on that, but I am going to go ahead and grab ourselves a tannery. Again, affects desirability pretty bad, so we've got this little section that we mentioned for this type of thing, so I'm going to start building them over here. I'm going to get 1 tannery down, and we're going to get 1 cobbler shop down. Like so. So we got like a little industry square that will come over here. And then now we are in a position where we can start looking at this. If you go into amenities, you'll have unlocked the market because we built the planks. We will need the planks for this, but this building actually increases desirability. So I like to put it in a way that, you see how I'm covering, you got this circle area where it builds desirability for the houses. My housing estate is going to have this market in the middle. So I'm actually going to place it right here. And that should, we just need the planks, as you can see, and a little bit more stone. So we are going to set these to be harvested. I'm just going to manually select those. All right, tannery has been built. So you'll see they'll get the pelts and some water, and they'll start building hide coats, which will come in handy for the market. All right, as we have an incredible amount of food, I'm going to build some more housing here. So keep an eye on that. If you've got a really good surplus, you can actually then start to work through these and grab yourself some more housing here. So I can stick with my 6x6 scenario here. The market should pretty much reach these. It's okay if you miss 1 or 2. You can work that out later, because as you upgrade this, the like desired area is increased. Alright, the market has been completed, so I'm just going to go onto that alert, and it does think that one might be out of range, but I just want to show you what this is all about. The market itself will bring you income, so you can start producing some gold, and then when the desirability of these houses increases, they will upgrade, and then they'll turn into homesteads. For each homestead, it's actually 1 extra gold per month as well. So just imagine I had 3, 6, 9. These 9 here all turned into homesteads. That's an extra 9 per month on top of the 9 from the markets. We'll be earning 18 gold. And what this will do is they'll stock this with various goods, and they'll get distributed out to the houses here. Alright, we are into year number 3. We had 1 villager born and 1 emigrated. So every year people will emigrate randomly and people born, typically on the that cycle there. You see this was out of water, so that well is now stocking with water nicely for when we fill up this area. And what we can do now, we have a little bit of gold income, is we can go down into this decorations tab here, and we can improve the desirability of these more. So most things are quite costly, but you'll easily get them up. I like to do this. Like you see, in a certain area, as if we do a whole row of gardens here, I know that probably is a bit weird, but then, and we do these narrow ones down this row, and then you can do a couple of shrubs. We'll do 1 shrub there, and we'll do a small patch of plaza there. This will cost a lot, but eventually they'll get these done. And what that'll do is bring these houses to homesteads, and we'll gradually get a nice chunky amount of income. Because we need villagers to come, don't we? Alright, we've just had an event where the building is on fire here. Check this out. So what will happen is all the villagers will run and just grab water from a well and all start chucking water on it to put it out. Alright, just quickly bringing you back in here. As you can see, they've slowly been building this as they earn gold. So we've got 1 little garden there. These can be upgraded later on. And what we're doing is working towards 30% desirability on these. So if we just go there, look, you can see some are at 22%. I think once all these are built, this chunk here will actually be more desirable. And there's a building on fire. We just had 4 villagers immigrated and another one born, taking us to 33 population. If we go into the town hall now, all we're waiting for is wood planks. Now we've got more villagers in. As you can see, we've got 14 labourers. I've actually turned the planks back up. So we're going to put a fourth person in there. And we're going to keep the planks coming because we have the population so far to do so. And as you can see, we've got nearly a year and a half worth of food with not much spoiling based on what we've got set up, which is a really, really, really good place to be. That means we honestly don't even need to put farms down just yet. We will need it for the wheat eventually as we go on. And you'll understand all that as you play. But once you learn the basics, as I'm showing here, you'll kind of catch on to the rest of it anyway. The idea behind what you want to do is get desirability up on homes. You want to get your food and stuff nice and close to everywhere to be distributed. Same with storehouses. And then you want to keep the desirability killer buildings away from your homes. Right, here we go. So we have all the requirements for the town hall. So we're going to hit upgrade. They're going to take all the resources over to the town hall. I'm going to prioritize that and get that one done. And then that will unlock a massive amount of buildings. And the game really opens up once you get Town Hall level 2. Okay, we have an upgraded Town Hall. So I'm just going to pause here. I'll show you the requirements for Tier 3. It's massive. So you need 25 new homes built, 1 school, 1 trading post, and 150 population. 2,000 gold, which recent update, they upped that from 1,200, by the way. Clay and planks. Now, you remember me saying you needed a clay pit nearby at the beginning. There you go. There's our clay deposit with 2,200 in it. We're going to be setting up for that very soon. Alright, let me show you a couple of things from Tier 2. So you unlock quite a bit now. So you get all of this stuff here. We got 4 new villagers immigrating, another born, because we've got such a good surplus and housing here. This is going to keep coming, so they should keep flying through. So in order to unlock some of these stuff here, the clay pit, you actually need to go into storage here, and you need a wagon shop. Now, the wagon shop basically will transfer resources around using a wagon in larger quantities. So I'm going to stick that. I'm actually going to put it right there. We have an issue here. You see how this bear is now attacking? People won't really fight the bear. The hunters will try, but they will get battered. The bear should run away when it gets weak, but it will come back. They go straight for the buildings to steal the food, and they take some killing. Just put it that way. It looks like we need a Fletcher's building soon as well. How many arrows are we sitting on? 40. So I'm just going to go in here, and we're going to go to our resources tab like before, and we're going to go for this Fletcher building. And this doesn't affect desirability. Now I'm going to slot it in just there nicely. And there we go. There's our wagon shop. So from here, you're basically got a stocking, someone who will produce a transport wagon, and they basically means they can transfer a lot more resources around the town in a more efficient manner. But what this effectively does, now you've got the wagon shop, you see all of these tier 2s are unlocked. So you've got your work camp, which means you can put down and select an area to always chop trees, which is great. Your clay, iron mine, gold mine, all of this stuff. So you need to find the resource pockets around the map. There are some, so near mountainous bits here, you see? This is going up like a mountain. There is iron ore deposits there. If I go into them, they have a ridiculous amount. So they both got nearly 10k in them. So that's going to be enough to last you almost many, many years in game, put it that way. But you will then, obviously, from there, it's up to you what you do. So each have a requirement on cost, and you can start building to produce. But what I'd do is make sure you don't do too much at once, because you'll run out of labourers to do things. So make sure you're always checking to assign workers to what they need to be doing. And you see when I left this slot right here, this is the last thing I'll show you right here. So, well, there's 2 things, but there is a school. And I've put this slot right here for our school. I could potentially, actually, it'd probably better serve there. That covers this whole area. Look, so I would stick the school there, and we'll save that room for the bakery right there. But the next thing you want to be looking at is this trading post. Now, keep the trading post near your town hall, because it will need to be defended. You will be keeping gold there. So just keep that in mind. Pick a slot for it. And what that effectively does is it means traders will then come into your town and you can trade your resources. So this is why I've been obviously making these. You can actually sell these to traders as they come to make more gold. Right, here we go. So I just want to show you here. Desirability of one of my houses has now hit 30%, and we've met all the requirements. So if I click on a house, you have these requirements in here. So you need a basic well, town centre tier 2, 30% desirability, 2 different food types, and 1 herb. And then it costs 5 wood planks to upgrade. What this does do is give better happiness bonus and also increased durability. But it doesn't tell you is each homestead actually produces 1 gold as well. Alright, homestead is just being built here, as we said. So I'm just going to pause that up. You'll get this nice new looking house. As you can see, it looks way better than the other ones. But what that effectively means is that's a tier 2 house. The upgrade costs are pretty big for tier 3, but don't worry about that just yet. Right, there we go. So once the next month occurs, you can see we've got taxes. Homestead in brackets, so an extra 1 gold. So that house alone is producing 1 gold a month. Alright, last but not least, the trader building has finished. So let's go into that and check that out. So what this effectively does is allows you to buy and sell goods that you may need or you want to get rid of in a surplus to traders as they come. What you can do is, if you've got stuff in surplus in your storage, so we have hide coats here, you can transfer them into your trading post. I typically like to keep a set amount here going. You can do a one-off, so it'll only transfer 10 at one time, but there is this option here to keep in stock. If you tick that, they'll always try and keep 10 in stock at the trading post to sell. That's pretty much all there is to the trading post. You can work them, 2 traders come at a time, you can see what each one's selling and buying and make some money that way as well. That's all there is to it, really. It's really, really great fun trying to work the market, though, for sure. But guys, that is going to be where we end this guide out. So if you do have extra tips, please do smash them down in the comments below. And as you go along, just keep building out and go from there. If you are interested, I am still running through my first ever playthrough. So please do check that out on the channel. As always, guys, I appreciate you. If you're new around here, consider subbing as well. As always, take it easy and I will catch you in the next video.